The Executive Summary. Today's book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. We're going to pull out the most important frameworks, the key insights, and the lessons that actually apply to how you lead and build. Like and subscribe if you want this every week. Here is the summary. Before we get into it, if you want the core lessons from the world's best leadership books delivered every week, hit subscribe and the notification bell right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it's the best decision you'll make today. Now, let's get into it. Does your team consistently underperform, despite possessing intelligent, capable individuals? Do meetings feel like polite rituals, devoid of genuine debate, leading to decisions that unravel or fail to inspire commitment? Many leaders assume the problem lies with strategy, resources, or even individual competencies. But what if the true impediment to your team's success is far more fundamental, rooted not in what they do, but in how they interact? What if the very fabric of your team's relationships is silently sabotaging its potential? This isn't a question of intelligence or effort. It's a profound challenge to the conventional wisdom of team dynamics. The reality is, most teams are crippled by invisible, yet potent dysfunctions that prevent them from achieving true cohesion and delivering exceptional results. These aren't abstract concepts. They are tangible, human-centric obstacles that, once understood, can be systematically dismantled. If you want the core lessons from the world's best leadership books delivered every week, hit subscribe and the notification bell. Let's get into it. Today, we delve into Patrick Lencioni's seminal work, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Published in 2002, this book swiftly became a cornerstone of leadership literature, resonating with leaders across every conceivable sector, from Fortune 500 CEOs and military commanders to startup founders and nonprofit directors. Lencioni, a renowned author, speaker, and the founder of the Table Group, a management consulting firm, drew upon his extensive experience advising countless executives to articulate a problem that, while pervasive, often remained unaddressed: the silent erosion of team effectiveness. The core problem Lencioni sought to solve was the pervasive issue of dysfunctional teams leading to poor decision-making, missed opportunities, low morale, and ultimately, systemic underperformance. He observed that many organizations were staffed by highly competent individuals, yet their collective output consistently fell short of their individual potential. This gap, he posited, was not due to a lack of talent, but a failure of fundamental teamwork. The Five Dysfunctions of a Team matters because it provides a remarkably simple, yet profoundly insightful and actionable framework for understanding and overcoming the human behavioral issues that sabotage teamwork. Rather than focusing on complex strategic models, Lencioni stripped away the layers to reveal the foundational elements upon which all successful teams are built. Its accessible fable format, coupled with a clear, hierarchical model, resonated deeply with leaders seeking practical, implementable solutions to improve team dynamics. It offers not just a diagnosis, but a clear pathway to health. Lencioni's central argument is elegantly powerful. Effective teamwork is built upon a hierarchy of 5 interdependent virtues. These virtues, when present, create a robust, high-performing unit. When absent, they become dysfunctions that undermine all others. He illustrates this through a pyramid, where each level builds upon the one below it, meaning that the absence of one virtue inevitably compromises those above it. This isn't merely a list of problems, it's a systemic model for understanding team health. Let us now explore these 5 dysfunctions, understanding their profound impact on team performance. Lesson 1. The absence of trust. The foundational dysfunction, the bedrock upon which all other problems rest, is an absence of trust among team members. This isn't about predicting reliability or competence. It's about a deeper, more profound form of trust, vulnerability-based trust. Lencioni argues that without this foundation, team members cannot admit weaknesses, acknowledge mistakes, or ask for help. They are unwilling to be truly vulnerable within a group. This leads to guarded behavior, a reluctance to expose perceived flaws, and superficial interactions. Team members spend energy managing impressions rather than focusing on collective goals. They worry more about how they're perceived by their peers than about the team's overall success. This creates an environment where true collaboration is impossible. Consider a military unit. If soldiers do not trust their comrades to cover their back, to admit when they are struggling, or to confess a mistake, critical missions can fail. The lack of cohesion, The absence of open communication born from this distrust can have dire consequences on the battlefield. Similarly, in a corporate setting, if team members fear admitting errors, problems fester, innovation is stifled, and critical information is withheld. No one wants to be the bearer of bad news or the one who made a mistake, so issues are swept under the rug, only to resurface later, often with greater severity. Viewer challenge. When was the last time you, as a leader, openly admitted a significant mistake or vulnerability to your team, and what was the impact? Did it foster openness, or did it reinforce a culture of guardedness? The answer reveals much about your team's foundational trust. Lesson 2. Fear of conflict. The second dysfunction, an inevitable consequence of a lack of trust, is a fear of conflict. This is not about personal attacks or destructive arguments. It is about the avoidance of passionate and unfiltered debate around important issues. When vulnerability-based trust is absent, team members are unwilling to engage in healthy, ideological conflict. They shy away from robust discussions that challenge ideas, preferring artificial harmony over productive disagreement. Important issues are left unaddressed or are discussed passively, rather than being rigorously debated to arrive at the best possible solution. This politeness, this desire to avoid discomfort, becomes a significant impediment to progress. Decisions are made without the benefit of diverse perspectives and critical examination, leading to suboptimal outcomes. Imagine a church leadership team that consistently avoids discussing controversial topics, such as budget cuts or changes to long-standing traditions. Their fear of offending members or causing discomfort leads them to sidestep these crucial conversations. While they might maintain an outward appearance of unity, beneath the surface, unresolved resentments simmer, and the organization eventually faces stagnation, unable to adapt or address pressing challenges effectively. The silence, in this case, is not peace, but a ticking time bomb. Viewer challenge. Are your team meetings characterized by polite agreement or by passionate, constructive debate that genuinely challenges ideas and seeks the best solution? Be honest. Do people truly speak their minds, or do they self-censor to maintain an illusion of harmony? Lesson 3. Lack of commitment. The third dysfunction arises directly from the fear of conflict, a lack of commitment. This is the failure to achieve true buy-in and clarity around decisions, even after discussions have taken place. Lencioni explains that without engaging in healthy conflict, without the opportunity to voice concerns, challenge assumptions, and debate alternatives, team members rarely buy into decisions wholeheartedly. They may feign agreement in meetings, nodding along to avoid further conflict, but they fail to commit fully to the plan. This leads to ambiguity, a lack of conviction, and ultimately, a failure of follow-through. When people have not had a chance to truly weigh in, they do not own the outcome. They have not been heard, so they do not feel invested. Consider an executive team that makes a strategic decision without fully debating all perspectives. Perhaps one or two dominant voices push the agenda, or the team simply wanted to avoid a lengthy, uncomfortable discussion. The result? Individual leaders may subtly undermine the plan, fail to allocate resources effectively, or simply deprioritize it because they never truly committed to it in the first place. They went along to get along, but their heart and conviction were never truly engaged. The decision, though formally made, lacks the collective energy required for successful execution. Viewer challenge. After a key decision, can every member of your team articulate not only the decision itself, but also why it was made and their specific role in executing it with genuine conviction? Or do you detect hesitation, uncertainty, or a lack of personal ownership? Lesson 4. Avoidance of accountability. The fourth dysfunction, born from a lack of commitment, is the avoidance of accountability. This is where team members hesitate to call their peers on counterproductive behaviors or performance. When there is no real commitment to a plan, team members are naturally reluctant to hold each other accountable for delivering on their commitments. Why would they, if they weren't fully invested in the decision themselves? This leads to missed deadlines, unmet goals, and a gradual lowering of standards. Peers avoid uncomfortable confrontations, allowing poor performance or problematic behaviors to persist unchecked. The desire to avoid interpersonal discomfort trumps the need for collective performance. This creates an environment of mediocrity where high performers become resentful and low performers are never challenged to improve. In a sales organization, for example, if team members don't hold each other accountable for pipeline management, lead follow-up, or hitting quarterly targets, the overall team performance suffers. The top performers, seeing others not pulling their weight, may become resentful, leading to a decline in morale and a loss of collective drive. The team implicitly accepts lower standards because no one is willing to have the difficult conversation required to uphold them. Viewer challenge. When was the last time you observed a team member failing to meet an expectation and directly, but constructively, held them accountable, or saw another team member do so? Is accountability a shared responsibility on your team, or does it fall solely to you, the leader? Lesson 5. Inattention to results. The fifth and final dysfunction, the apex of the pyramid, is inattention to results. This is where team members prioritize individual status and ego over collective team objectives. Lencioni explains that if a team avoids accountability, individuals will naturally shift their focus. Rather than prioritizing the collective success of the team, they will concentrate on their own departmental goals, personal career advancement, or maintaining their individual status. This leads to fragmented efforts, internal competition, and ultimately, a failure to achieve shared objectives. The team loses sight of the ultimate prize, becoming a collection of individuals rather than a cohesive unit striving for a common purpose. The we is overshadowed by the I. Consider a product development team where individual engineers are more concerned with the elegance or complexity of their specific feature than with the overall product's market success or user experience. Each engineer might deliver a technically brilliant component, but the integrated product could be fragmented, underperforming, or fail to meet customer needs. Their individual pride of ownership has eclipsed the collective goal of delivering a successful, coherent product. Viewer challenge. Can every member of your team clearly state the single most important collective result the team is striving for? And are their individual actions demonstrably aligned with achieving it? Or are they pursuing personal agendas that diverge from the shared objective? Lesson 6. The interconnected pyramid. Lencioni's genius lies not just in identifying these dysfunctions, but in illustrating their hierarchical and interdependent nature. The 5 dysfunctions form a pyramid, where each level builds upon the one below it. This means that addressing lower-level dysfunctions is a prerequisite to resolving higher-level ones. You cannot effectively tackle a lack of commitment without first building trust and fostering healthy conflict. Lencioni emphasizes that these dysfunctions are not isolated problems, but an interconnected system. You cannot achieve true commitment without healthy conflict, which in turn requires vulnerability-based trust. Similarly, accountability and the relentless pursuit of collective results depend entirely on the preceding virtues. Attempting to enforce accountability without trust, for instance, will be perceived as punitive and unfair, further eroding team morale. Each layer supports the next, and a crack in the foundation compromises the entire structure. Imagine a startup trying to hit aggressive growth targets, their desired results. They will inevitably fail if its leadership team cannot hold each other accountable for their actions and commitments. This avoidance of accountability often stems from a lack of genuine commitment to the strategy, which itself is a consequence of an inability to have honest, robust debates about the path forward. And all of this, ultimately, is built on a shaky foundation of trust, where individuals are unwilling to be vulnerable with one another. The pyramid illustrates why quick fixes rarely work. You must start at the base. Viewer challenge. Which of the 5 dysfunctions is currently the weakest link in your primary team? And critically, what is the foundational dysfunction that needs to be addressed first to begin the process of building a truly cohesive and high-performing team? Understanding these dysfunctions is the first step. Applying the knowledge is where true leadership emerges. Here are 3 concrete actions you can take this week to begin transforming your team dynamics. Move 1. Conduct a personal histories exercise. At your next team meeting, dedicate time to a personal histories exercise. Ask each team member to share 1 or 2 non-work-related personal facts about themselves. This could be their number of siblings, their favorite childhood hobby, the most challenging experience they've overcome, or a unique passion outside of work. The key is that these facts should be simple, non-threatening, and reveal a glimpse into their life beyond their professional persona. This seemingly simple exercise fosters vulnerability and builds foundational trust by allowing team members to see each other as human beings, with lives, experiences, and vulnerabilities outside of their job titles. It breaks down barriers and builds empathy, Before your next critical discussion or decision-making meeting, explicitly state that healthy, unfiltered debate is not just allowed, but actively expected and encouraged. Frame it as a norm for effective decision-making. Encourage team members to challenge ideas, not people, and to voice dissenting opinions with the shared goal of reaching the best possible solution. As the leader, you must model this behavior. Actively invite pushback on your own ideas, ask probing questions, and facilitate constructive disagreement. When someone challenges an idea, praise the courage and the contribution. Make it clear that silence is not agreement, and that the best ideas emerge from the crucible of passionate debate. Move 3. Clarify and cascade commitments. After every significant team decision, ensure every team member can articulate 3 things. First, the specific decision that was made. Second, the rationale or the why behind that decision, the key arguments and considerations that led to it. And third, their individual and collective commitments to making it happen. Do not assume understanding or agreement. Ask them to summarize these points, perhaps even write them down. Then, crucially, ensure these commitments are clearly cascaded to their direct reports or relevant stakeholders, so that there's a consistent message and unified effort throughout the organization. This ensures clarity, fosters buy-in, and lays the groundwork for effective accountability. If you found this deep dive into the